prior to that, I hid it for a while. I even hid it from my friends. I had a very supportive friend group, but it was embarrassing. You know, I just didn't want it to be known that I had let myself get in that kind of situation. It was embarrassing and humiliating.
Mm-hmm.
And then you always know you're going to go back. So if I tell them I go back, then it's going to be a problem. Until the day you decide I'm never going back.
That is so true. That is so true that you said that. You are actually one of the first women that I've interviewed that actually said it in that way, and that is so true. That is one of the reasons why we don't expose them, because in the back of your mind, you're going to go back. Or all you have to do is say something, smooth you over, buy you something. A couple days go past, and then now, oh, I miss him. Oh, he was bad, but he really wasn't that bad, and this and that and the third. You know, and I've actually had somebody tell me, well, at least you know the type of man that you have, because you can leave him and then get with somebody that's actually going to kill you. Is that not the craziest thing ever?
Wow. That's definitely some warped thinking. Definitely.
That's that old school Betty Wright.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Having a piece of man is better than having no man at all type of thing.
Exactly. Those old sayings that I say are straight from the pit of hell. Ain't nothing but the devil. Put that in your head, because that ain't no kind of truth. God would not want any of us to suffer like that.
But think about it. How many women back in the day left their husbands? Why do you think they were married 80 years, 70 years?
Mm-hmm. And I hear people say, oh, back in the day, those women stayed with their husbands. They didn't want to be there. Believe you me. They stayed because either they were afraid to leave, they didn't have a job, they couldn't support themselves, or that's just what you did. You just stayed. At least you have a man. He's taking care of you while he's busting your face open. If that's what you call taking care of me, you can keep it.
That's correct. That's correct. Miss Rachel is saying hi to you.
I say hi, Miss Rachel, and hi, Michelle. Those are two, Miss Rachel and Michelle. I've known Michelle since I was probably in the 7th grade. I'm 53 now, and so it's a long time.
A long time.
And yeah. And me and Miss Rachel have been friends for a long time as well.
And so TT wants to know, were you and your parents close during this time?
You know what? Yes, I have a very close relationship with my parents. And my mom was my best friend since the day she passed away. And we did everything together. And just because you're close, a lot of times when you're close, you hide things more because you don't want them to know that part of you. Because you wait until you're ready to leave, you know your parents are going to be like, oh, no, we don't stop this.
Right.
Because your parents are going to make sure you're safe. And you know that. So if you tell them, then how are you going to go back?
That's correct. That's correct. Now, let's jump forward. So, we've got, the molestation. We've got the date rape. Did you ever experience any domestic violence in your adult life?
Yes, I did. I experienced, and it was more emotional, I guess you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Emotional, where I had a ex-boyfriend that used to say, you're so smart you don't have no common sense. Or, you don't know everything. Things like that. And people don't think that that's a put down, but it is. Mm-hmm. Or, you're a white girl in a black girl's body. Mm-hmm. Those are put down. Mm-hmm. You might not think it, but those are put down. Or, well, because I'm brown skinned, or, I've only ever dated, what they said, red bone, but I like you. I've never dated a brown skinned girl before. Those are put down.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And emotional is I would say, TT said emotional was the worst, but emotional takes longer. It stays with you forever, definitely, when someone belittles you. And they do that because they're insecure.
Exactly.
And it's all abuse. It doesn't matter if it's physical, if it's emotional, it's all abuse. There is no greater. It's all the same. It's still abuse, and it stays with you for life.
It is the thing about emotional is that it's like in your mind. When someone says something to you, the Bible says death and life in the power of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone says something to you, it pierces you. It pierces your heart. When someone hits you, it hurts you physically, but you know how that wound will heal and you might not see it anymore. You might not have that physical reminder. The emotional, that mental reminder, like those words, like you can remember the tone of their voice. You might even remember a song that was playing when they said it, or something that was on TV, or a smell maybe that was around when they said it to you. And that's what it is. It's those words that just get to your heart. And it's like little small things. And someone might say something to you that will remind you of that. And it will trigger you like, don't say that.
Yeah.
That's not cute. Don't say that to me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't think people, if you've never been through it, and even, you think about in school when you get bullied and that stuff stays with you. So imagine if it's your companion and they're saying these mean, rude things to you, and you kind of believe it because it's coming from somebody that's supposed to love you. So at some point, you actually start believing those things. So I want to ask you, with you being molested as a child, have you ever fully recovered from that?
I don't think you recover, but I don't know if you ever fully 100% recover, because you will have those thoughts, because when you grow up, you have children, or when you have grandchildren, that alert is always on for you. I think because you are aware of what could happen. So I don't know if it's that you don't recover, it's just that signal's on for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what could happen. So you're like, oh, let me watch this person. Let me peek this person out. Let me see what they're saying. Are they looking at my daughter sideways? Or are they looking at my grandchild in some type of way? Or are they saying something to a young person around me that may not be appropriate? So you're more aware, I think, of different situations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true. I just can't imagine, that being done to me or one of my children, and just the recovery process from it alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just devastating to think about it. And I'm so proud of you for sharing your story. And you're so beautiful. I've saw you. We've shared pictures, and I hear you speak about how you never felt like you were pretty because of it. Or because of, things that may have happened to you. So I just commend you for speaking out on it. I guess the next phase of it is, what can we tell each other or other people that may be listening, like signs to watch out for, things of that nature?
I work with children on a daily. I'm a teacher. And if you are around people that are young women, women in the early 20s, just look out for different things, how they behave, how they act. Do they seem like they might need a lot of attention? Because a lot of times that's a clue to you. They need all this attention, or they just might seem very maybe needy in some type of way. Or maybe they might even just ask you simple, like certain questions about sex or things that might be proper. Or I work with, like I said, young kids, and they say, well, miss, what if a boy doesn't like you? That's okay, because girls might ask you that. That's a roundabout way of them maybe getting the conversation open.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if a boy doesn't like you? And then that's the open, well, why would you ask me something like that? Or if you have a friend that every time, as older women, you know how you have girls' night, every time you want to go out, she always has to cancel at the last minute because something came up. Or her boyfriend said, oh, I made plans.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you guys want to go out and do something, believe me, that's a red flag. If
yeah, it is.
Every single time and drop everything for that man.
Oh, yeah.
There's something not right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're willing to, and that's another way of, you know, being alert, like red flags. You have to be aware of the red flags. So once you start noticing, and this is the friends looking on the outside looking in, and sometimes we say, you know, I ain't getting in that. That ain't my business. It ain't my place. It is your place. If you love that person, it is absolutely nothing wrong to say, hey, that's not right. Every time we get ready to do something, he's cutting you down, or he needs you, or you're bailing out every time we get ready to do something because he has now showed up, or what's that on your face, or why can I never get in touch with you? Those are all red flags, and it's nothing wrong if you love somebody to step in and say, that's not right.
Well, yeah, you have to. And if they don't accept it, you still did what you were supposed to do on your end.
Right.
And maybe they didn't hear you then, but believe me, they might hear you later. They might sleep on it and just think about it because your words are powerful. And if you say it, don't judge them. And if they don't want to listen, you just say, my door is always open. Here's my number. Call me anytime or text me. Whatever. Don't bring it up again. You let them bring it to you.
That's true. Well, you know, sometimes you fall back, but you have to be an ear. You have to be listening, and you have to be one of those people that, hey, I love you enough to say that I don't think that's right. And I can't tell you what to do because you're going to do what you want to do, but I just want to let you know that that's not right, that something is wrong about that. So we have a couple of questions in the chat room. I'm going to welcome Miss Fab to the show. Thank you for chiming in. I know that you're in the show, Lisa. I don't know if you can talk and read, or would you want me to just read the questions out to you?
I can see what Miss Fab had to say. Is that I had someone say to me he cheated because he couldn't believe a girl as pretty as her would go for him, as if I'm not pretty. Miss Fab, that's a mess right there. He cheated because that's what he was going to do, but he was trying to make himself feel better about what he did, so he had to make you feel less. Mm-hmm. And that's all that is. That's manipulation. That's what that's called. That's that old manipulation.
It is. It is. Miss Rachel had a question for you as well.
Okay, I think, Rachel, you said when you were teaching at Lakewood, what was the first time you realized that you survived what to do so that you could help other young girls? Probably, when I first started working at the high school, and that was probably in 2002, and I was working in the program with a lot of young teens who were troubled. And it seemed like I would always get the young women who had something had happened to them, either physically abused or had been, sexually molested. They would just gravitate towards me and just start having conversations with me. And I remember I had one student, she was they're my babies. They're grown now, but they're still my babies. And I remember her showing me this picture. And I said, oh my God, you look so beautiful. You have on a dress. Mind you, this young girl wore baggy jeans, baggy t-shirt, dressed like a boy. And I said, you wore dresses? She said, I didn't always dress like this. I started dressing like a boy because my mother allowed her boyfriend to rape me to keep him. So I figured if I started dressing like a boy, he wouldn't touch me anymore. So she started dating girls and dressing like a boy so he wouldn't touch her anymore.
Wow.
So believe me, there are signs. We just have to be aware and look and just keep your mind open